The iPhone 14 Pro Max. What comes in the box and is it any good? Let's find out. Before we open the box, I would like to thank Apple for letting me borrow this specific phone. I did buy one myself and it should be here in a couple of days, but to get some hands-on, let's give it a shot. So yes, we have the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I believe this is in the purple color. I've never had a purple colored phone, so pretty exciting to see. They've continued the very slim, svelte packaging that we've seen the last few years, and we have a case that we'll try out. So without further ado, that felt pretty good. Did you hear that? That's like, I like that. That's what you kind of need when we're doing MacBooks. Like, you need a little bit of a resistance, so it's like opening a present. Here we go. Woo! Wow, that looks incredible, but I will say, holy crap to that camera bump. In the box, we've got the standard stuff. We have the white Apple sticker. I thought on the Pro versions, you got the gray or the black ones, so we will, that's what we got this time around. We got some warranty instructions, and then there is no SIM card pin this time around. There's just a piece of paper saying you no longer need a physical SIM. I don't know that you could say you no longer need, but you no longer have a physical SIM slot. So you get that, and then you get the Lightning to USB-C cable. Pretty standard iPhone stuff, but I think this looks incredible. Like looking at the physical nature of the phone, it just looks good. Like, Apple makes fantastic phones. The one thing though I do wish they'd stop doing is I wish they'd stop making the sides of the Pro model out of this stainless steel. I mean, look at this. The second you touch it, it gets fingerprints. It's like it was surgically designed in a laboratory to gather fingerprints. What I wish they would do is take the matte sides from the standard iPhones and then this frosted glass back from the Pros, combine that so that we have a very fingerprint resistant design. I mean, look, this is the 13 Pro Max that I've been using, and on the back still looks great, but just the sides, ugh, I hate fingerprints on my devices, especially one this expensive. But one thing that is just standing out to me like very clearly is look at that camera bump. That is I didn't think I'd be able to tell the difference as much, but that is a significant difference compared to the 13 series. Look at that. That is gigantic. That is a gigantic protuberance, according to Michael Scott, of a camera bump. Besides that, we still have the normal power button, no SIM card slot. The rest of it is all pretty standard stuff, so let's turn it on and see what we got. Satisfying. I love taking stuff off of glass. Ding. Apple. Sega. It's a Sonic. My son got really into Sonic, like 2D platforming Sonic not too long ago, so I've heard that Sega thing a lot. Hello, well, thank you. There's the pill right there that everybody has been either super excited about or, you know, angry about, because you get angry about stuff, I guess, on the internet. Let's set this up really quick. United States, set up manually. We will take a few seconds to activate my phone. We're in SOS mode. Save our cell service. That would be SOC. Save our software. I don't know. That's what we're here for, the dad jokes that don't make any sense. While this is setting up, let's check out the case. As I said in the accessory video, I'm a very big fan of Apple standard cases. I mean, here is my rubber case that got the crap beaten out of it because I drop it all the time. So this did set up, but let's check this out real quick and put the case on it. I know some folks are like, you don't need cases. I am a person that needs a case because I make big messes out of my phones a lot. There we go. So the leather case. I used to go for the leather case, but I have since gone to the rubber. Maybe this year we'll go back to the leather, but it just feels great. I know they're expensive, but I really like Apple standard cases. They don't add a lot of bulk or heft or weight, but it just gives me that little bit of satisfaction. I know people are like, well, it doesn't protect your case. Look at this. This case bore the brunt of my mistakes, and my phone is still perfectly fine. But even on the case, the cutout for the camera is so much bigger. They really went all out for the camera on this thing. All right, let's pop it into its case. It does have MagSafe, so we'll see the MagSafe pop in. All right, we have our phone all set up. Let's check it out. I'm really curious as to how the dynamic island, I can't say that without laughing. It just sounds like such a trashy dating show. I'm really excited to see how the dynamic island works. If you touch it, it like acts up a little bit. So it's like at once a physical feature where there's actually a cutout for the Face ID and for the camera. But on the other hand, when you do things with certain apps, and we'll find that out as we use this phone and we do our follow-up videos, it will do a lot other cool stuff. Just tapping it makes the UI expand a little bit, so it's really cool to just see that cross between a physical and a software feature. Everything else looks very similar, but this also, unlike the iPhone 13 Pro Max, it has an always-on display. So look at this. That display is just always going to be on. When you put it in your pocket and it senses that you've turned it up, it should turn off. Let's see here. Okay. Hey, what's up, everybody? We're talking on the cell phone, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now we're putting it in the pocket. It's in the pocket. It's hidden away. Did the screen turn off, or is it always on? Turned off, and then immediately did the always on screen when it had like come out of my pocket. So there's some trickery in here with like light sensing and all that stuff. That's pretty cool. It also shows on the dynamic island that the phone is locked when it's locked. So that's just really cool. So it's got like 3 screen modes where it's off when it senses that there's no need for the screen. It's on the always on display when you lock it and you set it on your desk or something where maybe you need to glance at it. And then when you pull it up and you see it brighten up, that's where it's in like standard screen mode. That's pretty neat. You can still access all of your command dock stuff while it is locked. And one of the things, like they said 2000 nits of brightness, right? Like that's overexposing the camera with how bright we can set this thing up. But when it comes to just like overall usability, it looks like an iPhone. We do have iOS 16 on here, so there's a lot of cool stuff we'll be able to do from there. But I'm really interested in how the cameras are working, because they did say they put a lot of work into these cameras this time around. So let's set this to 4K. Okay, now we are on the front-facing camera on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. From the screen here, it looks really good. Now, they did say they were adding phase detection or autofocus detection pixels to the cameras themselves. So we should be able to stay in focus really well. But what I really want to see is just how well is it handling all of these studio lights. One of the things that you will generally notice on cell phone cameras, action cameras, stuff like that, when you're in a studio setting like this, it falls apart really quickly because you can't like manually control the camera. You can install some other apps on the iPhone to more manually control it, but this is just the standard camera application. This will also have big implications if you're going to use this as the main camera for your computer. We really got to see how it's going to look in somebody's studio. So this is the audio, this is the video out of the front-facing camera for the iPhone 14 Pro Max. We will stop this, we will turn it around, and we will do the 1X. Okay, now we got to like see ourselves in our camera, record. Okay, now we are on the main camera for the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I gotta like keep looking over here at my screen so that I can see that I'm actually in focus. So hopefully this looks a little bit better. This is the 28mm equivalent lens. Now on the main camera lens, you can also do a crop in because it's 48 megapixels to where you get like a 55mm. I don't have all of this camera stuff memorized, but that will give you more of a standard look. But if you're trying to record yourself from your rear facing camera, this is probably the way you would do it. And I'm very excited to see how this looks. We already heard how it sounds, but this is the one that matters, because right, if you're gonna use that cool mount in the interaction between the iPhone and like your Mac to use this as your main camera, this is the camera that you would use for that. So this is kind of important. All right, we will stop that. Then they talked about stabilization. So let's head outside real quick and see how all of this stuff works again, but like in the real world. Whew, okay, and we are now outdoors with the iPhone 14 Pro Max. We are again on the front-facing camera. We do have this set into cinematic mode, but in 4K. Last year, you could only do 1080p 30 frames per second with the camera. Now we can do 4K. And let's see how cinematic mode is. Let's see, maybe they've improved cinematic mode. I'm looking around, I can kind of tell that there's some edge detection stuff with my hat. Maybe some problems with the ear over here. That's one of the issues with edge detection. It's like portrait mode, but you have to deal with 30 frames per second as opposed to just one still image. So let's see how it looks. How's the stabilization? It's kind of windy out here too. Okay, let's swap to the main camera so hopefully we can see even better. All right, we are now on the main camera of the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I have to come to my I've got a window that I can see myself in over here just to make sure that I'm kind of framed up properly. So this is how the main camera on the 14 Pro Max is looking. Is the stabilization working well? Is the audio sounding good still? How's the dynamic range? So the dynamic range you're gonna see is gonna be the difference between, like, I'm standing in a shadow right now. So what's the difference between like my face and the sky back there? Is that all blown out? Can you see that it's a blue sky or not? How's the edge detection working here? I don't have the screen to tell. Here's how it works handheld. So if you were to use the iPhone 14 Pro Max to vlog or just like document your life or record videos, period, here's how it would work outdoors. Okay, now it's kind of warm out here, so let's hop back inside before we get like all sweaty. Whew, okay, and we are back indoors. Oh, sorry, it's kind of dark in here. Don't need sunglasses inside anymore. So initial impressions of the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Again, I'm very impressed with the build quality. I think they've done some fantastic things with working around the design limitation of trying to get what they want out of the front-facing camera while turning it into a cool software notification thing. We haven't been able to mess around with everything. We'll have to play around with this over the next week and give final thoughts sometime next week. I really like that it's the same price as last year, and we'll have to determine if this is worth upgrading to, if you have an older iPhone or if you even have the 13 Pro Max. But what about you? What would you like to see out of the 14 Pro Max? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, click here to see the best accessories for your iPhone 14 Pro Max. Click, 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 click. Thanks for watching.